Hello and welcome to this session on theories of intelligence. In contrast to animals, man is considered to be endowed with certain cognitive abilities that make him a rational being. He can reason, discriminate, understand, adjust and face new situations. He is definitely superior to animals in all such aspects of behavior, but human beings themselves are not alike. There are wide individual differences. A teacher easily discovers these differences among his pupils. Some learn with a good speed, while others remain lingering for long. There are some who need only one demonstration for handling the tools properly, while for others even the repeated individual guidance brings no fruitful result. To be labeled as being intelligent imparts positive feelings, encourages self-esteem and a sense of worth. Yet, what is intelligent and smart? This has been the focus of theories, definitions and philosophies dating as far back as Plato, yet most presumably dating prior to this historical figure might be due to the fact that humankind is himself intelligent. One way to seek understanding of intelligence is simply to define what it is. Sternberg 1986 purports two principal classifications of definition of intelligence: the operational definition and the real definition. Operational definition of intelligence is measurable. Real intelligence is one that inquires the true nature of the thing being defined. As with the plethora of definitions of intelligence, there are numerous theories of intelligence. From examining how smart one is to how to measure one's smartness, how to measure how one is smart, theories have come and gone, and some have endured to be pondered and proven over time. Concept and meaning of intelligence. Since time immemorial, attempts have been made to understand the meaning and concept of intelligence. Let us be acquainted with the concept and meaning of intelligence by throwing light on some important aspects. Some established facts about intelligence. The first one is the relation of intelligence with nature and nurture. There have been a number of attempts on the part of psychologists to weigh the relative importance of nature and nurture. The conclusion of their studies reveals that intelligence is the product of heredity and environment. Both are necessary for the intellectual growth of an individual, and neither can be considered more important than the other. The second one is distribution of intelligence. There are individual differences with regard to the distribution of intelligence in nature, like wealth, health, etc. This distribution is governed by a definite principle that states the majority of the people are average, a few very bright and a few very dull. Growth of intelligence. As a child grows in age, so does his intelligence as shown by intelligence test. Now, the question arises as to at what age does this growth cease? The age of cessation of mental growth varies from individual to individual. However, in majority of cases, intelligence reaches its maximum somewhat at the age of 16 or 20 in an individual. After that, the vertical growth of intelligence ceases, but the horizontal growth, that is accumulation of knowledge and acquisition of skills, continues throughout the lifespan of an individual. Intelligence and sex differences. Various studies have been concluded to find out if women are less intelligent than men and vice versa. The results of these researches have been in either ways. In some of the cases, no significant differences has been found. Therefore, it is proper to think that difference in sex does not contribute towards the difference in intelligence. Intelligence and racial or cultural differences. Whether a particular race, caste or cultural group is superior to other in intelligence, the hypothesis has been examined by many research workers. In USA, it has been a burning problem for centuries. The result of earlier studies, which consider the whites to be a superior race in comparison to the Negroes, have been questioned. Now, it has been established that intelligence is not the birthright of a particular race or group. The bright and the dull can be found in any race, caste or cultural group, and the differences that are found can be explained in terms of environmental influences. Theories of intelligence. There are different theories about intelligence, none of which agree with each other. Every approach to thinking comes up with its own different perspectives and assumptions, often contradicting at least one earlier theory. With the help of definitions, we can be able to understand how intelligence operates or what type of behavior makes an individual intelligent or unintelligent. But it does not explain the structure of intelligence, or in other words, the different components or elements of intelligence. The theories of intelligence propagated by psychologists from time to time have tried to answer this question. Factor theories of intelligence. It is the oldest theory regarding the nature of intelligence and flourished during 18th, 19th centuries. According to this theory, mind is made up of different factors like reasoning, memory, discrimination, imagination, etc. These faculties are independent of each other and can be developed by vigorous training. These theories had been under criticism by experimental psychologists who disproved the existence of independent faculties in the brain. Let us try to discuss some of these theories. Unitary theory or monarchic theory. This theory holds that intelligence consists of one factor, a fund of intellectual competency which is universal for all the activities of an individual. A man who has vigor can move so much to east as to the west. Similarly, if one has the fund of intelligence, he can utilize it in any area of his life and can be as successful in one area as in the other depending upon his fund. However, in actual life situations, the ideas propagated by this theory do not fit well. We find that the children who are bright in mathematics may, despite serious interest and hard work, be not so good in civics. A student very good in conducting science experiments does not find himself equally competent in learning languages. This makes us conclude that there is nothing like one single unitary factor in intelligence. Therefore, the unitary theory stands rejected. Anarchic theory or multi-factor theory. The main propagator of this theory was E. L. Thorndike. As the name suggests, this theory considers intelligence as a combination of numerous separate elements or factors, each one being a minute element of one ability. So, there is no such thing as general intelligence as a single factor, and there are only many highly independent specific abilities which go into different tasks. Monarchic and anarchic theories thus hold the two extremes. Just as we cannot assume good intelligence to be a guarantee of success in all the fields of human life, we cannot also say with certain specific type of abilities one will be successful in a particular area and completely unsuccessful in the other. As Gardner Murphy puts it, there is a certain positive relationship between brightness in one field and brightness in another, and so on. This brings us to the conclusion that there should be a common factor running through all tasks. The failure to explain such phenomena gave birth to another theory named Spearman's two-factor theory. Spearman's two-factor theory. It was developed in 1904 by an English psychologist, Charles Spearman, who proposed that intellectual abilities were comprised of two factors. One general ability or common ability known as G factor, and the other a group of specific abilities known as S factor. G factor is universal inborn ability. Greater G in an individual leads to greater success in life. S factor is acquired from the environment. It varies from activity to activity in the same individual. In this way, he suggested that there is something which might be called general intelligence, a sort of general mental energy. Running through all the different tasks, but in addition to this general factor, there are specific abilities which make an individual able to deal with particular kinds of problem. For example, an individual's performance in Hindi is partly due to his general intelligence and partly some kind of specific ability in language which he might possess. That is, G plus S1, or in mathematics his performance would be due to G plus S2, or in drawing it will be due to G plus S3, and so on and so forth. The factor G in lesser or greater degree will enter in all specific activities. The total ability or intelligence of such an individual, symbolized as A, thus will be expressed by the following equation schedule: G plus S1 plus S2 plus S3 etc. plus Sn is equal to A. This two-factor theory of Spearman has been criticized on various grounds. Some of them are: Spearman said that there are only two factors expressing intelligence, but as we have seen, there are not only two but several factors like G plus S1, S2, S3 etc. expressing it. According to Spearman, each task requires some specific ability. This view was not proper, as it implied that there was nothing common in the task except a general factor, and professions such as those of nursing, compounders and doctors could not be put in one group. In fact, the factor S1, S2, S3, S4 etc. are not mutually exclusive. They overlap and give birth to certain common factors. This idea of overlapping and grouping has been responsible for the origin of a new theory called group factor theory. Thurston's group factor theory. Group factor theory states that intelligent activities are not an expression of innumerable highly specific factors as Thorndike claimed, nor is it the expression primarily of a general factor that pervades in all mental activities as Spearman held. Instead, the analysis of interpretation of Spearman and others led them to the conclusion that certain mental operations have in common a primary factor that gives them psychological and functional unity, and that differentiates them from other mental operations. These mental operations then constitute a group. A second group of mental operations has its own unifying primary factor, and so on. In other words, there are a number of groups of mental abilities, each of which has its own primary factor, giving the group a functional unity and cohesiveness. Thurston and his associates have differentiated 9 such factors. These are: verbal factor is concerned with comprehension of verbal relations, words and ideas. Spatial factor is involved in any task in which the subject manipulates an object imaginatively in space. Numerical factor is concerned with the ability to do numerical calculations rapidly and accurately. Memory factor involves the ability to memorize quickly. Word fluency factor is involved whenever the subject is asked to think of isolated words at a rapid rate. Inductive reasoning factor concerns with the ability to generalize through specific examples. Deductive reasoning factor is concerned with the ability to make use of generalized result. Perceptual factor is concerned with the ability to perceive objects accurately. The ninth factor is that problem solving ability factor, which is concerned with the ability to solve problems independently. The weakest link in the group factor theory was that it discarded the concept of common factor. However, it did not take Thurston too long to realize his mistake and reveal a general factor in addition to group factors. Thomson's sampling theory. This theory was propagated by G. H. Thomson, a brilliant psychologist. According to the theory, mind is made up of many independent bonds or elements. any specific test or school activity sample some of these bonds. It is possible that two or more tests sample and utilize the same bonds. In such cases, general common factor can be said to exist among them. It is also possible that some other tests sample different bonds. Then the tests have nothing in common and each is specific. This theory seems to combine various theoretical viewpoints as it appears to be similar to Thorndike's multifactor theory, except that it concedes to the practical usefulness of a concept like G. At the same time, Thomson seems to maintain that the concept of group factor or G is of equal usefulness. Vernon's hierarchical theory. P. E. Vernon, a British psychologist, has propagated a theory of intelligence by suggesting hierarchical structure for the organization of human intelligence. Vernon's description of different levels of intelligence may fill the gaps between two extreme theories, the two-factor theory of Spearman, which did not allow for the existence of group factors, and the multiple factor theory of Thurston, which did not allow a G factor. According to Vernon, intellectual abilities or factors of intelligence lie in hierarchical order. On top, we have G, a general type of major factor representing the overall intelligence of an individual. Under G, there lie two prominent group factors, namely V, id, concerning with the verbal, numerical and educational abilities, and K, M, connected with practical, mechanical, spatial and physical abilities. These two major factors may be divided into minor group factors, and these minor factors in turn may be further subdivided into various specific factors related with minute specific mental abilities. Guilford's structure of intellect model. J. P. Guilford and his associates have developed a three-dimensional structure of intellect model on the basis of the factor analysis of several tests employed for testing intelligence of human beings. They have come to the conclusion that any mental process or intellectual activity of the human being can be described in terms of three basic dimensions or parameters known as operations, the act of thinking or way of processing the information; contents, the terms in which we think or the type of information involved; and products, the ideas we come up with, that is the fruits of thinking. Each of these parameters, that is operations, contents and products, may be further subdivided into some specific factors or elements. He further classified content into 5 categories, namely visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic and behavioral. He classified operations into 5 categories, namely cognition, memory retention, memory recording, divergent production, convergent production and evaluation. He classified products into 6 categories, namely units, classes, relations, systems, transformations and implications. The interaction of these 3 parameters, according to Guilford, thus results into the 5 into 5 into 6, that is 150 different elements or factors in one's intelligence. In a figural form, these 150 factors or independent abilities of the human beings along with the basic parameters and their divisions can be represented through a model named as Guilford's model of intellects or intelligence. What is implied by these contents, operations and products can be understood through the following brief description. Contents are the type of information involved. Contents may be in 5 forms: figural or visual. These are the properties of stimuli we can experience through visual senses, for example, color, size, shape, texture and other visual characters of figure. Figural or auditory. These are the properties of stimuli we can experience through the auditory senses, that is voice and sound. Symbolic. This includes numbers, letters, symbols and designs. semantic, the meaning of words and ideas; behavioral, the actions and expressions of people. Operations are the way of processing information. This dimension includes cognition, that is recognizing and discovering; memory, that is retaining and recalling the contents of thought; divergent production means producing a variety of ideas or solutions to a problem; convergent production means producing a single best solution to a problem; evaluation is taking decision about the nature of the intellectual contents or gathered information, whether it is positive or negative, good or bad, etc. Products are the results obtained through operations. They are units. These are individual pieces of information limited in size, for example, a single number, letter or word. Classes. Classes are groups of units of information related to each other on the basis of some common characteristics involving a higher order concept, for example, men plus women is equal to people. Relations is a connection between concepts. Systems is an ordering or classification of relations. Transformation means altering or restructuring intellectual contents. Implication means making inferences from separate pieces of information. In this way, according to Guilford's model of intellect, there are 150 factors operating in one's intelligence. Each one of these factors has a trigram symbol, that is, at least one factor from each category of 3 parameters has to be present in any specific intellectual activity or mental task. Let us illustrate this basic fact with an example. Suppose a child is asked to find out the day of the week on a particular date with the help of a calendar. In the execution of this mental task, he will need mental operations like convergent thinking, memory and cognition. For carrying out these operations, he has to make use of the contents. In this particular case, he will make use of semantics, that is, reading and understanding of the printed words and figures indicating days and dates of a particular month in the calendar. By carrying out mental operations with the help of contents, he will finally arrive at the products. The day of the week to which the date in question refers represents the factor known as relations. He may further transform and apply this knowledge to identify the days for contiguous dates or vice versa. Conclusion about the factor theories of intelligence. Each of the 7 theories of intelligence described above attempts to provide a structure of intelligence in terms of its constituents or factors. These theories exhibit wide variations in terms of the number of factors that they consider important. The range of all such factors also varies from 1 in unitary theory to 150 in Guilford's intellect model. However, for understanding what goes on inside one's intelligence, we must try to build an eclectic view by incorporating the essence of all the workable theories of intelligence. Consequently, an intellectual activity or mental task may be said to involve the following 3 kinds of basic factors, arranged in the order as suggested by Vernon or in the form of the model suggested by Guilford. Number 1, general factor, that is G, common to all tasks. Number 2, specific factors like S1, S2, etc., specific to the task. And finally, group factor G, common to the task belonging to a specific group. In conclusion, until a clear-cut definition of intelligence can be given, theories will continue not to be able to explain it. The likelihood of such definition occurring is virtually 0, as there will always be alternatives given, and so theories of intelligence are bound to be self-defeating. Let me summarize the session. Since time immemorial, attempts have been made to understand the meaning and concept of intelligence. There are different theories about intelligence, none of which agree with each other. Factor theories are the oldest theory regarding the nature of intelligence, and among them unitary theory or monarchy theory holds that intelligence consists of one factor, a fund of intellectual competency which is universal for all the activities of an individual, whereas the anarchy theory considers intelligence a combination of numerous separate elements or factors, each one being a minute element of one ability. Two-factor theory of Spearman proposed that intellectual abilities were comprised of two factors, one general ability known as G factor and the other group of specific abilities known as S factor. Group factor theory of Thurston states that certain mental operations have in common a primary factor that gives them psychological and functional unity and that differentiates them from other mental operations. These mental operations then constitute a group. Thurston and his associates have differentiated 9 such factors. According to Thompson's sampling theory, mind is made up of many independent bonds or elements. Any specific test or school activity sample some of these bonds. Vernon's hierarchical theory holds that intellectual abilities or factors of intelligence lie in hierarchical order. Finally, structure of intellect model by J.P. Guilford holds that any mental process or intellectual activity of the human being can be described in terms of 3 basic dimensions known as operations, contents and products. The interaction of these 3 parameters according to Guilford thus result into the 5 into 5 into 6, that is 150 different elements or factors in one's intelligence. Now, you can answer the following questions listed here. Write a brief note on the meaning and concept of intelligence. What is the concept of intelligence according to unitary or monarch theory of intelligence? What is the explanation of two-factor theory of Spearman regarding the nature of intelligence? Elucidate the theoretical postulates of the group factor theory of Thurston. Write a brief note on Thompson's sampling theory. What explanation is given by Vernon's hierarchical theory of intelligence? In what way the structure of intellect model by J.P. Guilford looks on the concept of intelligence? Hope that you may go through the reference books for further understanding. Human Intelligence and Its Nature and Assessment, written by Butcher H.J. and published by Methuen and Company, London in 1968. On Intelligence More or Less, a bioecological treatise on intellectual development, written by Ceci S.J. and published by Prentice Hall, Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey 1990. Advanced Education Psychology, written by Chauhan S.S. and published by Vikas Publishing House Private Limited, New Delhi in the year 1998. Frames of Mind, the Theory of Multiple Intelligence, written by Gardner H. and published by Basic Books, New York in 1983. The Nature of Human Intelligence, written by Guilford J.P. and published by McGraw-Hill Book Company, New York 1957. Hildgaard's Introduction to Psychology, edited by Smith C.D. and published by Harcourt College Publishers, London in the year 2000. Thank you for watching this program. We can meet again with another topic. Have a nice day.